All right, so it is reveal day for the Kia EV6. We're going to break that down today here on TechPath. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to the show. As you guys know, we love to dive into kind of this overview of where many of these traditional OEMs, manufacturers are going in terms of their EV production and also their strategies on how they're rolling into the market. We're going to jump into this one from, of course, Kia, which is the EV6. This one appears to be a product that is really targeted right at the Tesla Model Y and also the Ioniq 5 by Hyundai. The difference here, I think, is when you look at the design structure on this particular car, it does have some great styling cues, don't get me wrong. Very, very nice looking vehicle. I'm going to drive in or look into the inside of the car a little bit with two 12-inch displays. Interesting choice, I think, especially as Kia gets moving into this. It'll be interesting to see how their creature comforts develop, especially into some of these entry-level cars, or at least the first few cars that start to come out as fully electrified. And whether or not they can kind of trump that single screen application that Tesla has going in terms of their styling cues, I think that's going to be a big factor in how people perceive these vehicles, whether they look at it as a potential head-to-head competitor or something like a downstream, which Kia and Hyundai, I would say both have been looked at as more value or economic models. And I do think that's probably a good thing for them in the sense that we do need some vehicles in the marketplace that are going to be cracking into that $25,000 range. Now, granted, this vehicle is not at the $25,000 range, but if you look at the amount of styling cues and design that they've got going, my question is they're probably going to be hovering in the 45 to 55 range with the Tesla Model Y and also the Ioniq. A couple of other things is it is going to be Electric-Global Modular Platform, which is their E-GMP. There's three versions of the car: the EV6, the EV6 GT line, and the EV6 GT. Most of them will be available in multiple configurations, including 2 battery options, as well as rear or all-wheel drive. If you look at the battery options, which are at the 58 kilowatt hour pack and the 77 kilowatt hour pack, that is in alignment with what's happening over in the Tesla Model 3 and Model Y series. Long range, 316 miles of range, I'm going to say that that's a little bit light if you were going head-to-head with the Tesla Model 5 Y. But if you are going head-to-head with the Ioniq, it's almost an equal matchup, so you're fine with those. The other thing that's going to kind of be interesting here, which is its ability to accept 400-volt DC charging, so fast charging. We just had the guys on from Electrify America. They've really kind of moved into ramping up fast charging stations. So I think what's happening here with a lot of the manufacturers is we are seeing this move toward really going into fast charging as quickly as they can. And I think it's kind of the forward model in terms of building the next vehicle. 10 to 80%. This is interesting that I thought was almost identical to the Ioniq, is done in 18 minutes, which is a fantastic turnaround time. I would say 10 to 80% on a Tesla at a supercharger. Right now, I'm on the Model Y. I drive that one. I'm still at about, I'd say 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how many people are at the supercharger. And also, I think also if my battery's nice and warm and, it can take a state of charge pretty quickly. There are a lot of factors to that area. The other thing that I love about this vehicle is they're pulling no punches in terms of its performance. The EV6 GT is a 0 to 62 in 3.5 seconds. That's a top speed of 160 miles an hour. Like the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Kia's EV6 is going to be equipped with a power export feature up to 3.6 kilowatts. So that's back to load, so car to load. Meaning you can start charging things with it or using items with it out when you're out, running with the kids at the soccer field or something of that nature. So lots of benefits and features that I think are going to be cool. It does have some towing capacity here, 1,600 kilograms. One thing, though, to make note of is that it does require at least a minimum state of charge of 30% if you are going to tow with it to get to 1,600 kilograms. There are 6 different regenerative braking levels. For braking, I don't understand the 6 levels because you're either all in or you're not on regenerative braking. I don't understand this particular feature and why this technology was put in there, because it just seems like a cost to the vehicle that is just going to only increase the price. Versus, I drive on regen braking right now on my Tesla Model Y. You're either going standard or you're going chill mode. Chill mode, of course, is regen. Standard is like any other car that you're going to be used for pedal braking. I don't understand that one. So I'm a little bit curious. Maybe they feel like they have to kind of educate the population on going to regen braking, but I just feel like this is a waste of time, effort, and engineering dollars to do that. But it is something that they are offering. Almost identical features, though, as the Ioniq. They do offer a number of driver assistance systems. Besides the typical aids like forward collision warning and blind spot monitoring, you also get some goodies, which I think this is a good one, and this is the safe exit assist. I wish Tesla had this, which essentially could just be shutting down your door when you have incoming or oncoming traffic to a door, and to avoid, and I've had this happen to me. I've actually had a door hit when you open it in oncoming traffic, and especially when it's in your blind spot. But with the number of cameras that are on these systems, I think this would be an easy software update for Tesla. Let me know in the comments if you think we should get that on the Tesla Model Ys and 3s, all of the vehicles, because I think this is a great benefit. So excellent there. It does have some benefits to it. The other thing is the highway driving assist function helps keep the EV6 centered in its lane, so it's kind of like autopilot. It's kind of interesting. You can also remotely enter and exit a parking spot using the key fob. This one I have to see if it's going to actually do it. Well, of course, there's a lot of features in these cars that sometimes don't come out when the actual production models come out. One that I am excited about in this particular vehicle is the augmented reality heads-up display. The heads-up display system in many of these cars, when you look at the ICE vehicles, whether it's Mercedes, BMW, etc., most of the heads-up display systems are fairly benign. They just don't have a lot of input. And the amount of data processing and computing power that are on these EVs, Tesla, the Ioniq, this in the EV6, I feel like this gives us the ability to really advance up the technology capabilities of the heads-up display. I can't wait to see more heads-up display for the windshields, because I think that's going to really open up the opportunity to really kind of get system stats, especially with voice commands that you can start to utilize. Which I love about my own Tesla is the number of voice commands. I'm interested to see if there's going to be a lot of voice command capabilities in this particular vehicle, which will be fun to watch. So one thing that I think is interesting here is when you look at Kia and Hyundai going at it, they did it with the Telluride and the Palisade. I feel like we have the Ioniq setting up to go head-to-head with the EV6 in the same space. The Telluride actually won out, or at least I think by most car enthusiasts, the Telluride kind of won out the day in terms of those two big SUVs. Obviously, those are ICE vehicles. But I do see these two companies really going head-to-head in terms of their competitive landscape. So that'll be interesting to see. This is due out in select global markets in the second half of this year, including North America, and then some are expecting around a $40,000 price tag. That is Ioniq 5 level, even though I think the Ioniq is probably going to come in a little bit higher. But 40 grand, now you're getting into the price zone of a Model 3. That'll be interesting to see if this car starts to roll up in the Model 3 comparison, or if we're going to see a whole new class of EVs in that sub 40 range that really kind of can compete, especially as more of an SUV, or at least a crossover, because obviously the Model 3 is more of a sedan, a lot less hauling space, even though it does have the pass-through trunk. But it does present an interesting aspect, because the Model Y, of course, is over 50 grand with the long range. And even if the standard Model Y does come back, which is not available right now, at under a $50,000 price, if they can get it down in the $40,000 range, which they may have to do from Tesla's standpoint. So a lot of competition heating up in this space. Let's not forget what Volkswagen is doing with the ID.4. And then, of course, many of the other manufacturers are really coming to market as quickly as they can. You've got Ford and GM on hot paces right now to really go head-to-head with the Japanese and the Koreans on developing the next level EV. So stay tuned right here on TechPath. We're going to continue to break down a lot of these new reveals, try to give you as much information as we can. And of course, if you are listening to this on a podcast, make sure and jump over to the YouTube channel. You want to check out the video side of this show because it really shows a lot of the styling cues, especially in this one, this particular episode, because this is really where you're going to get the full benefit. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, you're going to always get updates when we have great new content coming out. If you want to send us a note on maybe one of the vehicles that you want us to cover, or really break down a little bit more in depth with an interview, just send it to producer@revernetworks.com, or you can hit me up on Twitter, which is just @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.